If your travel plans take you west toward Indianapolis, you're going to want to budget in a bit of extra time this morning and really into the foreseeable future. It's what you see on your screen there, floodwaters from the heavy rains washed out a portion of I-70 west in eastern Indiana, just 9 miles past that state line there in Wayne County. Pavement cracked, washed away. This is just amazing. It's forced an indefinite closure of that portion of I-70 west. The Ohio Department of Transportation has already posted those digital message boards out there along I-70 right here in Columbus and in Dayton to warn drivers who are heading west. ODOT Press Secretary Matt Bruning is joining us this morning. Matt, glad that you could join us. So many of us do head west to Indy and beyond each day, each week. First of all, talk about how this happened.
Well, I mean, they've just gotten a tremendous amount of rain in a portion of eastern Indiana, and we've seen a lot of that in western Ohio and obviously to the east of Columbus and even really through central Ohio. These storms have just continued to train over the same area, dumping very heavy rain. And when you get that much rain, you're going to have some massive flooding problems, and certainly they're seeing that in Indiana, and that looks like it has washed out a portion of Interstate 70 right around the Richmond, Indiana area. So that is what we're alerting people to right now.
And that's such a critical area when you need to stop and get a bite to eat, but maybe that's just me. You've got the message boards out warning drivers about the closure. How much time do they have to make a decision on a detour?
Well, it depends on where you are. Certainly, the reason we chose to put those signs up in Columbus even is because if you're heading from Columbus or Pittsburgh or areas between to Indianapolis, your best route at this point may very well be I-71 down to Cincinnati around 275 and then 74 to get into Indianapolis. But even if you're in the Dayton area, which is where we have signs posted as well, you could take 75 south into Cincinnati, then again 275 to 74. There are other routes to get there. The problem is that whole eastern section right along the Ohio-Indiana border is very flooded. And so some of the alternate routes that you would typically take are also flooded, like US 40. So it's really a long detour to get around all that high water. And so sometimes the best route is to just go, again, down through Cincinnati and to get to Indianapolis.
All right, so we know more rain is on the way. We've been talking about this. Does ODOT really anticipate more damage like that in those affected areas or other parts of the state?
Yeah, we've been in very close contact with our partnering agencies like the National Weather Service, and certainly staying on top of what the river gauges are looking like right now, and obviously very concerned about additional rain on top of areas that already have saturated ground. It's not going to take much rain to cause more problems. And so, we'll be certainly closely monitoring that throughout the day and into the weekend. And then, of course, once this flash flooding issue is resolved, now you got to worry about the river flooding as major rivers like the Scioto and the Ohio River start to come up as all of that drains into those. So we'll certainly be looking for some flooding issues there. The biggest thing that I can tell you, Tracy, is just I really cannot urge this enough. When people see those barricades and those signs that say road closed or high water ahead, or they just see high water, please don't drive through it. The issue you're seeing on I-70 in Indiana could be at any road that's got high water on it. So we just need people to know that those barricades and signs are there for a reason, and that reason is your safety. We need people to obey those. And again, when you see that high water that maybe doesn't have a sign on it yet, don't drive through because you just don't know what's underneath that water.
It really makes the case for this. I want you to say that for the people in the back. But before you do that, I've got to ask you, how long do you think this closure might last?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, obviously, when you have an emergency situation, and we've been no stranger to that in Ohio, that moves things a lot quicker. You've got some different resources at your fingertips that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise if this were a traditional project. So I'm sure Indiana is working around the clock right now to work with their federal partners and all hands on deck to try to get that major interstate reopened. It's one thing if it's a smaller route in a rural area. Not that that's not an important road, but it certainly takes on another level when it's a major interstate that carries tens of thousands of vehicles a day. And so I know that Indiana knows how important I-70 is, and they'll be working around the clock to try to get that reopened as soon as possible.
All right, Matt Bruning. You know what's great to have you on the phone with us this morning. Thanks for making time. And we'll just watch for your posts. Take care.